Hi everybody, Nick from TriRig here. For today's video, we wanted to give you a bit of an inside look into how we make our products. This is just going to be a 10,000-foot overview of the whole product life cycle from original idea to final production and beyond. If there are any parts of this that you'd like to see us flesh out in more detail, please leave a comment below and we can cover it in more detail next time. So where do our products begin? 100% of the time they start as an idea. Specifically, the way we design our products at TriRig is we find ourselves wishing that there was a product out there to fill a specific hole or solve a specific problem, and that product just doesn't exist. So we decide to solve the problem ourselves. Let's take a look at the new 3-in-1 Polymount. It's a perfect example of how we design. For a long time, perhaps our most frequent customer service question was this: what's the best way for me to mount a computer on my aero bars? What product do you recommend? For a long time, we didn't have a great answer. Some of it depends on you. Where do you want your computer to be? Right in your face all the time? Slightly out of the way? Do you run a bottle between your arms? Does that change where you'd like the computer to sit? How do your hands sit on the aero bars? And is there room for a computer right between them, or above them, or behind them? It's a complicated question that doesn't have a simple answer. We couldn't simply recommend a single product and say, go buy this. It'll put the computer wherever you want it to go. We wished there was such a product. So that is the concept that grew into our new Polymount. Let's build a single product that will let the customer put their cycling computer or action camera just about anywhere. And let's build this thing with the TriRig standard of excellence for elegance, simplicity, versatility, and minimalism. From there, we're off to the races. Often we start with sketches, literally with pencil and paper. Even with all the fancy technology in the world, from 3D design tools, computational fluid dynamics, and even wind tunnel testing, usually the best place to begin is with your own two hands, just working things out in simple strokes. And eventually, those drawings get refined enough that we start to put them into the computer. These days, the tools are so good that we can go from a general concept to a working 3D model in very little time. And that gives us the ability to iterate very quickly. We can push and pull things in 3D space, see how things fit together, and get a general idea for what works and what doesn't. Something like the Polymount might go through a dozen different revisions before we even have our first candidate for prototyping. But the computer can only take you so far. It's essential to get hands-on experience with anything you want to develop, so that's where prototyping comes in. The Polymount was an excellent candidate for 3D printing. What used to take weeks waiting for a third-party factory or supplier can now be done in just a few hours with the 3D printer sitting behind me on the workbench. And even the relatively flimsy 3D prototype can teach you a lot about product design. For the Polymount, it was essential in helping us understand how the little teeth on the action camera mounts work. That was a design element we wanted to incorporate, but that we didn't invent ourselves. So having those teeth physically in hand incorporated into our design was really helpful in understanding all the ins and outs, cross-compatibility, etc. When we're satisfied with the 3D print, then we go to our factory for a full metal prototype. It's essentially just a pre-production unit, but they make it with temporary tooling and fixtures which are easier to set up for the low-run manufacturing of prototypes. They send us the first finished product in all its glory, including surface finishing. We test it, we use it on real bikes, and then if needed, we go back to the design phase for further revision and refinement. In some cases, we may go through a number of different prototypes before the final product's ready. So for something like our first version of the first ever Omega brake, we went through 6 or 7 physical prototypes. For later brakes, like the Omega 1 or the Omega SL, we only went through 1 or 2 physical prototypes because we already had such a wealth of knowledge from years and years of rim brake design. For the Polymount, we did just a single metal prototype, and that was enough to tell us we basically had what we wanted. We made a few final tweaks to make sure everything was perfect, and then it's on to manufacturing. At this point, we've got our finished product, and we're ready to unveil it to the world. There's just the one minor step of actually manufacturing the thing. At TriRig, our products are made with a variety of materials and processes, everything from injection molding to CNC machining, carbon fiber layup, and more. The Polymount is machined from billet aluminum. That means we take a large block of tempered aluminum alloy and carve the shape of our product out of it, using computer-controlled tools to render the product with extraordinary precision. That ensures that everything will fit and function perfectly every single time. The machined pieces are sanded, surface treated, and hard anodized for a lasting and durable finish. We box them up, ship them direct to consumers all over the world, and we finally have our answer to the question, what should I buy to put my cycling computer on my aero bars? The answer is the TriRig 3-in-1 Polymount. So that's A to Z on making a TriRig product. But where do we go from there? At TriRig, we don't tend to rest on our laurels. Every successful product we've ever made has just been the first in a series, getting improved and further developed over the years. Take our Scoops arm cups, for example. They were basically the very first ultra-long cup on the market, and they've been hugely popular. But arm cups aren't always a one-size-fits-all affair. So we developed the line further with additional shapes and concepts, such that it's now 9 different products to fit any athlete and any budget. In the case of the new Polymount, it's brand new, so we don't know exactly where this concept will go in the future. But you can be sure that wherever it goes, it'll start with a great idea. And that's going to be all for today's look at product design. Again, if you'd like us to flesh out more of this process, or there's something specific you want to know, please leave a comment. Let us know what you'd like to see. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.